In the world of creating that successful business, it's going to be more than just about a fantastic, unique, creative product or service. Hi, my name is Heidi Muma. I'm one of the co-founders here inside Truth Bomb Academy. And today we're going to talk about an MVP versus an MVE. Most viable product versus the most valuable experience. I love that word viable because it talks about something we need. It's something that is useful. It's something that is going to be used by people because it's viable, but about something that's valuable. What about something that is creating that valuable experience for your customers and your clients? So we're going to dive more into that. The successful business that you're creating has a lot more to do with your vision, your ability to adapt to how things are changing in the marketplace, and also really never giving up, not giving in to those like the desires like, okay, this isn't happening fast enough. Is it really ever going to happen? That's not what you want to think about. You want to think about what is the experience you're creating for your customers and your clients. Is that experience something that they're craving? Are they continuously being more curious about what you're creating and what your product and service is doing in their lives? And is the experience that they're creating, that they're having with your product or service, a valuable experience for them? So recently I read an article, and often I come across these articles and I love gleaning more education, more growth from what other business people are doing successfully, men and women. Even though here in Truth Bomb Academy, we predominantly are focused on serving women, we've learned so much from the men in our lives. And I'm never going to discount that. And so I read this article, and I'll have the link down below in the description, but I was talking about lessons from a light bulb. So in this article, he talks about how we've all learned Thomas Alva Edison created the light bulb. Well, he goes on to mention a couple other inventors who actually created the filament that is the essence of the light bulb. It's the part that lights up. And so Edison didn't create the actual first item, but when he looked at it and he's like, this is a fantastic idea. This is something that is needed in the world, but it didn't last. It stank. It wasn't working that great. So he took that idea and he created what we know as the incandescent light bulb today. So he didn't have an actually first brand new idea. It's like, oh, we'll take this electricity and put it into this element. No, that was already created, but it wasn't extremely valuable for the customers, for people who want light in their house, because it didn't last long. It didn't, and it stank. And so he had to come up with this, they tried like 3,000 to 6,000 other ways to do this before they came up with the one that was accessible, the one that lasted, it was durable, and it didn't stink. So in other words, those filaments, those light bulbs were viable. They were useful. You could use them technically, but they weren't very valuable. They weren't valuable to the end user. And so this is where Edison, well, he kind of really shone, cute words, right? But he stood out from the people who created it before. Now you could take that light bulb and you could you could use it in your house. Businesses could light up. People were able to use them more on a regular basis. Just because something is viable doesn't mean it's actually valuable to the end user. So it's like, I love that moment where it's like Edison sees something that is a fantastic idea and he makes it better. He makes it more accessible, more usable, more durable for the end user. I've often heard people who have this light bulb moment about having this great, fantastic idea that they want, and it ignites their passion for a business. It ignites their desire to be an entrepreneur. But having a light bulb moment doesn't necessarily always create that successful business. We have to recognize, actually, it's 10% of startups fail within their first year, and 70% fail within the next few years. Really, ultimately, only 1 in 10 startup businesses go on to be a successful long-term business. And those numbers are actually for pretty much all businesses, but for women, they're technically even lower. And so to really take that idea or even perfect an idea and make it a viable business, you actually have to have the business plan that works for women. And as Katrina pointed out in her video, which should be popping up below, about the 9 steps to building your business, building a business plan for women is actually slightly different than what we have traditionally been taught. Like Edison's light bulb, it's building a business plan. A business plan is not a new idea, but we reimagined how it actually looks and works for women. Because also, like the filament that Edison started with, we have heard way too many stories about how women are overstressed, overwhelmed, and they just burn out way too quickly so that their business doesn't reach the success that they wanted, that they dreamed about in the beginning. They build a successful, but they do make that valuable experience for their customers, but they're not able to sustain it. We've learned from the feedback that we've received from the women going through this and the women that we've been talking to, they are craving this type of education around business growth for women, around women's cycle, around women's feelings, around women's emotions. Yes, we do have emotions and they're allowed in business, and believe it or not. The business plan, or a business plan, is the foundation for every successful business. Truth Bomb Academy created the female business plan that is helping women to actually have more time, more financial freedom in their life without getting overwhelmed, overstressed, or burned out. You don't want to be that light bulb filament that burned really, really bright and then burned out really fast and stunk when it did that. No. Here in Truth Bomb Academy, the business education that you receive to build that successful business so that you aren't overstressed, you aren't overwhelmed, you don't burn out, where the experience is very inclusive, actually fun, and has given women the freedom to openly talk about what it is to being a woman in business. And everything that we do during the day, all the hats that we wear, women are talking about it and building those successful businesses. So I can't wait to see you inside the Academy. So if you're ready to create that MVE, that most valuable experience for your customers, your clients, and have a plan for doing that, I want to see you inside the Academy. It's a 9-week workshop, and you will, at the end of that 9 weeks workshop, you will have the MVE for your business. You'll actually have an entire business plan that you can take and really run with, really know what you're marketing, and have a lot of fun doing it. So let me see you inside the Academy.